effort to extend a contract that expires after this season, and Evans is likely to leave the team. Now, you may say, well, what about the franchise tag? He's got a cap number in excess of $23 million this year. By rule, the franchise tag would cost them more than $28 million to keep him around for one more year. So they're not getting a deal done. And as Stroud says, who's been covering that team forever, he's likely gone after this year. And he's got 9 years in the NFL, 9 1,000-yard-plus receiving seasons. He's going to try to go 10 for 10, walk into free agency at age 30, something I didn't expect to have happen. I never expect to see Mike Evans in anything except pewter and red or creamsicle a couple of times a year. But, Peter, it looks like that's going to happen.
You know, the great thing about Mike Evans, to me, for as physical a player as he is, he's missed 9 games in 9 years. So, honestly, Mike, if he has his typical year, which is no gimme this year, because obviously if you look at that team and you look at that quarterback, I mean, nothing is guaranteed this year for this team. But if he plays out this year, and essentially if he plays a 10th straight year being durable and being very productive, because every year, you're right, he's had a 1,000-yard season. If he does that again, I think somebody steps to the plate and gives him a good 3-year deal. Maybe not quite what he would want. Maybe it isn't exactly $20 million a year, but you know, it's going to be 18 plus a year and maybe 20. So, you know, to me, I think Mike Evans, if I were him, I'd play it just like the way he's playing it. This will probably be the last contract he'll ever get in football. And I would think that going to the market is going to maximize what he can earn.
I thought this quote from his agent, Derek Gilmore, was very surprising. He said, per Stroud, it sickens Evans to see players hold out and get rewarded when he does everything for the organization on the field, in the community, off the field, working with other players in the organization. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's always been that way. Mike Evans is a guy that you easily take for granted because he shows up, he puts in his work, he keeps his mouth shut, and I've always respected how quiet he is, but that has caused him to not really be noticed the way that he should be nationally, and I think it causes the Buccaneers, who have plenty of other spinning plates to worry about, to not really pay as much attention to Mike Evans as they should have. And here we are now, where we're entering what could be his last year with the team. And Peter, to follow up on the point that we were talking about with Aaron Donald, Mike Evans is another guy if the Buccaneers struggle. And who knows what it will take to fold your tents in the NFC South, because the division is so wide open and there isn't a great team. They may not be in a position where they could say, well, let's go ahead and trade off Mike Evans. But that's another guy to watch. Another potential, hey, look, what could he add to a contender on the fly? If the Buccaneers feel like it's just not in the cards this year, let's go ahead and trade him for value now.
And a lot of people might be sitting there saying, well, geez, if you're not going to pay Mike Evans, who are you going to pay? Well, you know, I think the Buccaneers probably would look at it and say, you know, in 2018, we paid him a 5-year, $82 million contract, $16.5 million average per year. And for a couple of years, that stood up as a gold standard in what wide receivers were paid. But obviously, everything inches up. And this year, total cash, Mike Evans is going to make $14.5 million. And I'm sure he's thinking, and his agent is thinking, the Bucs have to step to the plate and do what's right and get him up to the $20 million range. I get it. That's probably fair and right and all that. But you ask yourself this question if you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay? How long right now for a 30-year-old receiver? How long into the future for a guy who has been durable to this point? How long into the future do we want to guarantee him a huge amount of money? And, you know, obviously, if you look at the numbers here, if you are Mike Evans, you know, I mentioned $20 million before, and obviously That has been bypassed a long time ago. So, obviously he's going to want more than that. I'm sure he'd want in the A.J. Brown range at least. So, to me, I understand exactly why the Bucs are trying to hold the line a little bit, but I understand why if you're Mike Evans, you're in the last year of a contract, and traditionally, that's when players get paid. So, I don't know. I can see it from both sides, and if I'm Mike Evans, I want to hit the market now.
30 years old. He just turned 30 10 days ago. Can we put the graphic back up? He's believed to want, according to Rick Stroud, the Cooper Kupp package of 3 years and $80.1 million, which works out to the 26.7. So that would put him very close to the top. And look, that's an accurate depiction of the numbers from overthecap.com. But as I always mention when we show this graphic, the Tyreek Hill average is fugazi. It's got a bloated back end specifically intended to drive the total average up to 30. It's never going to be worth $30 million a year. Just like Alvin Kamara, $15 million a year, a bloated back end at $25 million that drives the average from 12.5 to 15. So the top of the market is 28. That's the top of the market. And 26.7 is pretty damn close to it. The Bucs aren't going to pay him that. And Peter, on the open market, 30 going on 31. Depending upon how healthy he is coming out of this season, I don't know. Because now Justin Jefferson's going to have a contract by then, I assume. If not, the Vikings may have a problem. Justin Jefferson may go above 30 with real money. But it's going to be a tough call to see whether he can get that Cooper Kupp contract, because I feel like the biggest receiver contracts are truly reserved for the best of the best, because you can find receivers in the draft, young guys, second round, third round. It's almost kind of like what happens with running backs, but not nearly as bad yet. The great receivers still get paid. How great will Mike Evans be regarded as after this season? I think that is going to drive where he lands on that scale that we showed. Is he near the bottom or is he near the top?
Mike, that's where he's hurt now, playing with Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask or whoever it's going to be. And look, everybody is saying, well, wait a second, they're not going to be that bad. Look, every team plays 17 games. Every team's going to have a 1-loss record at the end of the year. And everybody's not going 11-6. And it kills me a lot of times when people say, oh, my God, how can you only say that the Rams are going to win 4 games? How can you only say this? And I got a lot of guff in the preseason or in the offseason when I rated the Bucs 31st on the list. And, I don't know if they'll be 31st, but they're not going to be 9th. They're not going to be 16th.
And somebody's going to be 31st. Somebody's going to be. That's the thing. That's what drives me crazy. Somebody's only going to win 4 games, folks. I know everybody's juiced up about their teams, and they're 0-0, and the NFL loves to pump up that balloon of plausible hope. But the reality is there will be crappy teams this year. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.